And we're back with another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don and Kevin. Kevin, Happy New Year.
Hey, 2026. Here we go.
I can't believe we're saying 2026.
Yeah, did you have a good holiday?
I had a wonderful holiday.
Good.
How about you?
I did. Saw you a little bit, yeah.
Well, I spent 1 or 2 days with you.
Yeah,
I
we
was
had
keeping
some
an
fun.
eye on you, man, making sure you don't get a 2 out of line.
Good deal. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
you were pretty calm, so that's pretty good. We're off to a good start, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about cakes.
We're going to talk about a group of people here from the Sprinkle Squad today. Today we're joined by a team from For Goodness Cakes, Arizona. It's an organization that turns flour, frosting, and love into something truly meaningful. They bake custom treats for children in foster care, kids who deserve to be seen, celebrated, and reminded that they matter. This is a conversation about kindness. It's a conversation about community and the quiet power of showing up with joy. So what a delight it is to have all 3 of you here today. First time we've had 3 guests in this studio.
In this studio, yeah.
And we need it because there's a lot to talk about here.
Absolutely.
So this is fantastic. So we've got Samantha Boda, which we're going to say in just a second. We got Shameen Higgins, and we got Jessica Sharkey. They're all volunteers with For Goodness Cakes. And before we get into what For Goodness Cakes is all about, we want to learn a little bit about you too. So Samantha, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background, what you do for a living, and how you got involved with the Sprinkle Squad.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am actually not from Arizona. I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska. I moved here about 2 years ago. Just wanted to change. So my husband and I moved. We have a dog and a cat who we love very, very much. And I got involved in the Sprinkle Squad about 2 years ago. I used to take cake decorating classes at Hobby Lobby with my mom, and we would do that together, and we absolutely loved it. And found this amazing organization and wanted to volunteer. And so that past year, I got involved in it. And then this past year, I actually became one of the leads with Shameen, and I am one of the volunteer stewards. So I help run the organization here in Maricopa County.
Fantastic. Shameen, what's your story?
I'm a native from Arizona. I have an at-home baking business. So that's kind of...
You're a professional.
Yeah, it kind of just went right into it. Once my kids got into kindergarten, they're all in their late teens and 20s now, I started on my own doing the baking business. And then I saw a segment actually about For Goodness Cakes on one of the news stations around here, one of the local stations. And I thought, oh, this is like a great way to use what I already do and give back. And it's been 6.5 years now that I've been involved. And just this year, I decided maybe to step it up a little and become the agency steward. So I interface with all of the organizations around the valley that have asked for cakes from us.
6.5 years. And in the 6.5 years that you've been doing this, how many cakes do you think you've baked?
I believe, I forgot to check today, but it's somewhere between 175 and 200.
That's pretty good. Wow,
yes, but not as good as Jessica here.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get to that in a second. So, okay, Jessica, same question.
So I am pretty much considering myself a native of Scottsdale. I grew up here, just actually down the street. And I was in education for most of my professional career, but once I had my daughters, I have twins about almost 24 years ago, I just decided to start baking their birthday cakes. And I just wanted to have that experience. I took a class at Michael's, on cake decorating, and I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with baking. I fell in love with it as a hobby, but also as the kids grew, I really enjoyed when they'd have friends over and I was known as, the brownie or the cake mom. So I continued that just for fun through my career. And then 6.5 years ago, I also started with the organization. Just a friend of mine had seen a segment on the local news and shot me a text and said, I think this is something you would love to do. And I looked into it and I signed up immediately that day. And I've been baking like there's no tomorrow. I love it so much that I actually retired from my business because I was finding I'd wake up in the morning and I wanted to bake cakes more than I wanted to do my real job. Yeah. And so I've baked over 360 cakes for the organization.
Cakes. You guys take pictures of all the cakes you bake so you can put them on file and just kind of see what your artistic endeavors have looked like over the years?
I do, yes.
I had a feeling that somebody did here. Yeah.
I've kind of slacked a little. I was like really into baking the cakes and posting them, and then I just felt it fell away.
Well, Samantha, let's back up and talk a little
Yeah.
bit about the organization does, and what it's all about, and how I know it was formed in Los Angeles about 2016 or so, and now it's got chapters all across the country. How did it begin, and how did it end up here in Arizona?
Yeah, so the story goes with Jamie Lehman. She is the one who started the organization, like you said, in California. And the story goes that when she was 22 years old, she had baked a birthday cake for a friend. And that friend had kind of grown up in the system. And she had said that it was the first time at 22 years old she had ever received a birthday cake.
So she's in the foster care system in California.
I don't know the exact story, but
Okay.
something about she, hadn't received a cake in 22 years ever for her birthday. And truly, when you just think about it, a cake symbolizes that your life matters. You are important. You are here on this earth for a reason, and you matter. And we're so excited to celebrate you today. So after hearing that story, it kind of got me thinking about my own story. My brothers were adopted from Poland, and when they were 2 and 3, one of my brothers was turning 3, and at that time, my mom and I went to the local store, and we bought a cake mix and sat the cake in front of my brother, and he was really confused. And that brought me back to that story of like, I wonder if that was the first time he had ever celebrated his birthday. And so that's why I kind of connected with her story, and that's how the organization has gotten started. And now it's grown all throughout the country. We have 28 different chapters all throughout the nation, and it's continuing to grow with volunteers and more agencies and serving more people in the community.
That's fantastic. Shameen, how many agencies and organizations do you work with to make this all happen?
So right now we have 111 active agencies in Arizona in the Maricopa chapter, and we really do spread out all over. We're not even, I think we have to be the largest chapter in terms of space, because we have organizations in Mesa, Gilbert, East Valley, all the way to Apache Junction, over here in the West Valley, Scottsdale, and then we also have like Florence, Coolidge, and the town of Maricopa. So we have agencies everywhere and volunteers that drive out to all those different agencies to deliver cakes. So
Are they all foster care type agencies?
not
or the different
everybody.
Yeah.
It's just there's foster care. We have at-risk youth. We have adults, even like young adults that have aged out of whatever system they were in and are just transitioning potentially, trying to make their way in the world. And so we bake cakes. I think I've seen them up to 24, 25 years old.
I think it goes to 0 to 28.
0 to 28.
Really?
And
28,
we do
okay.
like adoption centers, homeless shelters, domestic violence centers, alternative schools, any place that serves under-risk youth.
Jessica, how many kids do you think you've served in Arizona? I know how many cakes you've baked, but how many kids do you think collectively your group has served? You guys have any
Collectively?
any thoughts? So do you keep track of that?
I think we've had, have we hit 10,000? Like in Maricopa County?
I know this past year we did 1,000, because I just made a newsletter, 1,277 for this past year of 2025.
For one
Okay.
year.
Yep.
I feel like are we getting close to 6,000
I think we might. Yeah.
for the state?
Yes.
Something
That's
close
a lot
to
of
6,000.
cakes.
A lot of, yeah.
A lot of cakes, especially if you take a picture of each one too and figure each cake is making a kid happy.
And
which
what's
is pretty
even
cool.
more special is the recipient gets to choose what kind of cake they desire. So they get to choose the cake flavor, the filling flavor, the frosting flavor. If they have any interests or ideas for decoration, they get to share that on their cake request. And so the individual, the baker who accepts, signs up for it, they know how to, I guess you could say, customize the cake. But it's been wonderful because I've seen requests that I've filled where the student or the child or the recipient just wants a giant chocolate chip cookie, or they just ask for brownies. There's been a cheesecake here and there. So it's been really nice to give the birthday individual a really specialized gift like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. What was the weirdest cake request you guys have ever received?
I don't know. My husband said you're going to ask this question too. He's like, do you have this question ready? They're going to ask you. And I'm not sure, but just recently there was a request and no one was taking it. No one was taking it. I was like, I'm going to end up baking this as like an emergency because no one else wants this. And I think it was there was peach filling and banana cake, I believe, and no, lemon cake and peach filling, and then also a flavor of frosting that I wouldn't put together myself, but these kids.
What kind of flavor was it?
It was. I don't remember what the frosting. Do you remember what the frosting was? I remember it definitely had peach filling and lemon cake, and then maybe chocolate frosting. So it's like it didn't go together at all. But somebody took that one and made it, and I'm sure that kid was so happy to get.
You never got any feedback on that one. You didn't get here that was.
We do sometimes get feedback, and it's really special actually when you go to deliver at an agency and the child actually happens to be there. Like I've had that happen before where it's a delivery window, so you have no idea. You're delivering, between 9 and 1. And it just happened that they were coming in for the day for whatever they were doing, at the school or at the agency. And they actually say, hey, so-and-so, this is the person baking your cake. And you actually get to hand it to them. And that's pretty special.
That must be awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys, what's your favorite moment that's touched you as you've gone through it? Sounds like maybe you've had one, but let's go across the whole team here and find out what that looks like.
So touching back to what Samantha said about some of these even young adults have never had a cake before. So there's a charter school in Phoenix that I deliver to a lot. And there was a boy turning 18. And I guess he had never been asked this before and had shared a link online that he had found. He's like, this cake looks cool. And it was just a red velvet bundt cake with some cream cheese filling in it. That was it. He's like, so if you could do something like this, that'd be great. So I was fortunate enough to meet him, and the moment is seared in my brain because he's standing there looking at it, and he just says under his breath, he goes, wow, I've never had a birthday cake before. And it moved me in such a way that I left the school and just called my family and just said, I think I just had that moment after however many cakes to really see the impact that had just made was life-changing for me.
Shameen, have you had a similar experience like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, whenever I get to meet one of the kids and they just kind of stand there and they don't know what to say sometimes. They some of them haven't.
Do they
had
know
kids
they're getting the
before.
cake in advance?
They do because
okay.
they get to choose. They get to help
Yeah, that's
fill the
true.
form out that shows. But they don't expect to meet you. They expect that one of the representatives is going to hand them their cake later. And so then, they're always very shocked and surprised by their cake, especially when it's exactly what they asked for, because I don't think they would have expected that. It's not necessarily like a grocery store cake or something. It's, clearly made with love, and it doesn't have to be even made that well. Just, like some of our bakers, they don't have a lot of experience with decorating, and, it's fine. Like, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. The kids
Samantha,
don't care.
what's your story?
I think that I went to deliver a cake, and it was to a domestic violence center. And I met with one of the really cool things that we get to do is we get to meet with a lot of the people that run the other nonprofits. Mm-hmm. And so I met with the owner of that nonprofit, and she was just saying how much the organization meant to them. She had told me a story. It was really special. She had said, not me, but someone else had delivered a cake to a mom for her daughter's 2nd birthday. And the mom opened the box and immediately just started crying and said that she would have never been able to afford to get her daughter something this beautiful for her 2nd birthday. Wow. And just hearing that, hearing others, so many other stories like that truly shows the impact that we can make here.
So you don't have to be a baker to be involved with this, right? There's other roles for people. What are some of those roles like?
Well, you don't have to be a professional baker.
Right. Right.
Definitely not.
Although Shameen is.
Yes,
Right,
Shameen definitely is. But yeah, you can just do it for fun. I know I've gotten the question many times of like, oh, can I have my kids help me out, or can I have my children? You do have to be 18 to sign up, but you can have your kids help. You bake the cakes, and then you can help, deliver them with children. But yeah.
Yeah, it's also a great opportunity for teens that need volunteer hours. Their parent or someone over 18 needs to sign up, and we do require you to take an orientation course. So they're definitely like food handling type things, so you know what you're doing. And then teens can use that for volunteer hours. They can bake with their parent, and then go drop off, or their parent can drop off, and it's a great opportunity.
That sounds good. So Jessica, it's a 501c nonprofit, right?
Yes.
C3 nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about what's behind the curtain in terms of how the organization runs, and how you do funding, what kind of budgeting you need, and how that all comes together.
Well, I just know from a volunteer standpoint, everything that I bake with just comes out of my pocket.
Part of
I
your
don't.
volunteering?
Yeah. I don't raise funds or anything like that. I do believe there's an initiative to raise funds for the organization for overall maintenance of the website and the agency outreach is a big part of the, I guess you could say, expense of the organization. And there might be, I don't know what other expenses there are, but they rely on outside funding, anyone who wants to donate.
Right.
I've been the recipient many times of products from bakeries,
Really?
They will donate to our Sprinkle Squad. I was in California last summer for a few weeks, and I got a notice I saw that somebody from the LA chapter was like, yeah, I just worked on this baking show, and I have a ton of candy melts and a ton of like chocolate chips and things. Like, if you want to swing by my house, I'm happy to give it
I
out
think
to.
it was like, is it cake or something?
Yeah, it was like, is it cake?
Like one of the
And-
main shows that they,
Yeah, and so
just
I
had leftovers.
And so they donated it to the organization. So I remember a couple of years ago when eggs were a little more expensive.
point, right.
I know Fry's Supermarket was really awesome. They were giving out coupons for butter and some eggs. So there was like a pop-up at like I don't know, a cookie place like in the parking lot, and we could all just go and like get a dozen eggs if we needed. So whenever there's markets or anything that are willing to donate their products, like we've got lots of bakers who are very, very willing to accept it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was actually thinking if anybody hears this and has, the ability to donate, we don't really have a lot set up here with the Arizona chapter yet, but just today I actually received a request from Cheesecake Factory, and they are willing to donate lots and lots of plates because apparently they are changing their plate size. We can't use that, but any other organizations that have things that are more like baking goods, flour, sugar, sprinkles, boxes, and cardboard to put them on are very
huge.
That's a huge thing because they're number one, they're very expensive, and number two, they don't always have the sizes you need. Just if you want a single one like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, sometimes they don't have them, and the average baker isn't going to be buying them in bulk like I am. So while I have 4,000 boxes at my house, I know the rest of you don't. So it's always nice to have those donations so that we can have people come like a pop-up and pick up supplies to help out with the baking.
What's the best way for people to connect with you?
On our website.
What's the website?
Yep.
Tell us the URL for your website.
forgoodnesscakes.org.
There you go, forgoodnesscakes.org.
And that'll take you to the Arizona chapter?
Which the Arizona page?
So it'll take you to like the whole chapter, and then there is a spot for donations, and then you can click specifically Maricopa County.
Okay.
So there's like a drop down, and you.
I mean, if I go to that website, could I donate to somebody in Texas or something? Or
you could donate to the Texas. Yeah, if they.
We have many Texas chapters,
Yeah.
5, I believe.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
okay. How many volunteer bakers are there in the Maricopa chat, your chat, in the Sprinkle Squad, if you will?
I believe we have over 900. I don't know the exact.
900?
Yes, but we get volunteer requests. I would say
At least weekly.
At least, a couple a week.
I think 3 or 4 people already this week.
Yep,
have
already
finished their
this week
course,
have finished their
training
course, and then.
So how often, if somebody wanted to like bake cake once a month, they can do that? Or like once every couple months?
It's all up to what their schedule looks like, which I think is which is something great about For Goodness Cakes, because you can kind of be flexible with it. You can make 1 a year, you can make 5 a year, you can make 25 a year, just depending on your schedule. And
So
your
nobody's calling
flexibility.
Jessica and saying, Jessica, I made a cake in 3 days. Get on it. Will you get me one out here? Okay. Cool.
How do you guys stay in touch with the mother organization in LA, if that's the best way to describe it, the headquarters, if it is, or how do you connect with each other across the country? Is there a mechanism for you guys do you have an annual meeting where you all go and share our best ideas, or how does this all
Yes,
come
we have an
together?
annual meeting, which is actually this weekend
Yep.
coming up, and then we use Slack. So we use Slack to communicate.
You Slack?
We do. We have
Yeah.
Slack.
Wow.
We use
Yep.
Slack.
We have
Who knew?
Yeah.
we have email, so everyone can be on the email,
Yeah,
and
we're
then
constantly-
it's actually quite.
Yeah.
They're very technology forward. This organization, and our founder, I think that's sort of what she does in her regular day job with other companies, and so she's always, I think, wanted to make sure that it was very easy to access for everybody, very technologically friendly. So
So what has this taught you all about dignity, about joy, childhood? What is, when you describe what really gets in your heart when you're doing this kind of work, what comes to mind? Samantha, why don't we start with you?
I would say that I think sometimes it's the simplest things that make the biggest difference. Like kind of like going back and saying like a cake, right? A box cake, a couple dollars for frosting. It doesn't take much, but it makes such a huge difference. And I think that's what I've learned most is that small things make such a big difference.
We can all remember small things day in and day out, Kevin. That
Yeah,
would make a difference, wouldn't it?
absolutely.
That's really cool. Yeah, Shameen. what
yeah, and
about
then
you?
it doesn't have to be fancy. I think sometimes people think, oh, and should I even do this? My skills aren't that great. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about these kids, and they feel the love that they weren't feeling on that day, and now they are because somebody chose to take a little bit of time out of their schedule to bake them a cake that they would not otherwise have gotten. And I think it makes all the difference for them. That just makes them. I'm sure some of these kids ride for days and weeks on that. And then
for sure.
I know actually. I baked a cake for the same kid 2 years in a row, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it at
You
first.
didn't know it?
Yeah, and I baked it, and then I looked, and I went back, and I was like, wait, this is the same day, last year for the same agency, and I was like, it has to be the same.
to be.
It has to be the same kid, and
And it
so
was.
now they again are like, getting celebrated another year in a row the way you're supposed to.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Jessica.
For me, this journey's taking me on like a different path. What I've learned is the meaning of baking for me in my life, because there was a point where I thought, I love this so much. I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm creating for these birthday recipients. And I thought, oh, let me start a business. And it was actually one of my really close friends who looked right at me and was like, no, you do not do this for business because you do it for love. Your love completely shines through in every chocolate cookie you make, in every cake you bake. And it's, so I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that love that I have inside to put into my bakes when I share them. So I've learned there's a place for it in my life, and I'm so grateful that I can actually share that with my community.
What I've noticed, Kevin, during this conversation is the smiles on
yeah.
all three of their
No,
faces.
it's the radiating.
Just to
It's
lighten
great.
up the room, man. You can tell the
Well,
joy
that's-
and the kindness. It all comes together.
The first time I heard this story, I knew we had to get him on the podcast.
You're
'Cause
right.
this is fantastic. This is exactly the kind of stuff our audience loves. Tell me about, Jessica told me she makes a lot of Spider-Man cakes, or did. And are you embargoing them anymore? Are you not taking any more Spider-Man cakes, or
So-
what's going on? Have you guys all made Spider-Man cakes?
This is very popular cake.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yes, I have done a lot of Spider-Man cakes, but I think at this point, I was doing a lot of cakes like that when my daughter was still in high school, and she's the artist of the family.
Oh.
So it was so fun creating cakes with her and her ability to do Pokemon or Minecraft. For me, I kind of go for the butterflies and flowers now. Like that's,
Right.
but I've also found that I've given myself a lot more grace with the decorating and the theme. I'm not so hard on myself.
Yeah.
So I can just relax when I'm picking a cake. But I think now because there's so many agencies and so many volunteers, I've now kind of made it where I'm maybe delivering for like a handful of agencies instead of just I'll take any agency and any cake at any time. And then once in a while, I'd like to challenge myself with a theme that I haven't done, like the unicorn cake. I remember the first time, I've always wanted to do a unicorn cake. It intimidated me.
Really?
Oh, I just did. I just want to make sure the horn was correct, or the eyes were just right. And then it just feels like once I do that, I'm like, oh, I feel that sense of accomplishment. And now what else can I do?
I can't think of a better way to start our year with this podcast to have a story like this, right?
Exactly right.
What a great story. You guys are doing wonderful work. You're bringing smiles not only to all of us in the podcast studio today, but kids across the valley. So thank you for all that you're doing, and may the year ahead be one that you just bring more smiles to the faces of all these kids that are going to really appreciate getting a cake for their birthday. What a great show, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Great to have them together. And thank you all for listening. We're getting hungry now for sure. We're going to break and go get a cake somewhere. For Goodness Cakes, don't forget to look them up if you want to be a part of what they're doing. I'm sure they'll welcome anything that you can bring to the table or to the oven as it is, I suppose. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for future episodes of good stories like this on the next episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.